let's talk about something that's famously confusing, super emotional, and, let's be honest, pretty unpredictable: the teenage brain. For, centuries, we've kind of looked at adolescence as this period of just storm and stress. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it?
Okay, so let's get right into it. We all see the behaviors, right? The risk-taking, the huge emotions, the laser focus on friends. But the real question is why? Is it all just random chaos? Is something in there broken? Well, according to the latest neuroscience, the answer is a huge no. In fact, something pretty incredible is going on.
So, the main idea we're going to unpack here is this: the adolescent brain isn't malfunctioning at all. It's actually going through a massive, totally purposeful, and absolutely essential renovation. It's a full-on construction site, and the whole blueprint is designed for one thing: building an adult mind that can handle our complex world.
Right, so let's start by just taking that old blueprint and tossing it out. For more than 100 years, our thinking on this has been shaped by a pretty negative idea. Yeah, this whole storm and stress model, which first came about way back in 1904, basically framed the teenage years as a problem, something you just had to survive. But what modern research is showing us is something way more optimistic, and honestly, way more exciting. It's not a period of stress we just have to get through, it's a critical period of growth that we really need to support. So, let's reframe this. Let's call adolescence a window of opportunity. The only other time our brain develops this fast is from when we're born to about age 3. It's a time when the brain becomes unbelievably flexible, or plastic, and it's just primed to learn and adapt to its surroundings at a crazy fast pace. So the key point here is this isn't a bug, it's a feature. So how does this window of opportunity actually play out? To get it, we've got to go inside the construction site itself. The brain is literally rewiring itself, and that involves both huge demolition projects and major new upgrades. And the scale of this whole operation, it's just mind-blowing. And the speed of this change is just staggering. Get this, at its peak, the adolescent brain is getting rid of up to 30,000 synapses. Those are the little connections between brain cells every single second. Now, this isn't damage, it's a very strategic demolition. This whole process is called synaptic pruning. You can think of it like a master gardener trimming a rose bush to make it stronger and healthier. The brain gets rid of the connections it's not using, which lets it pump more resources into the pathways that are being used. It's a classic use it or lose it deal that makes the brain way faster, much more efficient, and a lot more specialized.
And all of this pruning leads to a major upgrade. So on the left, you've got the gray matter. That's the brain cells, the raw materials. Its volume actually goes down as the brain gets tidier through pruning. But on the right, you have white matter. This stuff is the insulation, called myelin, that wraps around the connections. Its density goes up, and it basically acts like putting fiber optic cable in, making brain signals travel much, much faster. The brain is literally getting smarter and quicker.
Okay, so with all this new hardware in place, a faster, more efficient, more specialized brain, it's time for a major software update. The adolescent brain starts to run a whole new operating system, and this unlocks some seriously powerful new cognitive tools.
All of a sudden, teenagers can do things their younger selves just couldn't. They can think about their own thinking. That's metacognition. They can start to seriously plan for the future, organize complex stuff, and, this is a big one, learn to stop themselves from acting on their first impulse. This is their prefrontal cortex really coming online, giving them the tools for self-control and working toward their goals.
Now, a huge part of this new OS is learning how to balance two very different ways of thinking. The brain's default mode is that fast, emotional, gut reaction kind of thinking. But now, the slower, more logical, analytic thinking is getting much stronger. The teenage years are basically a training ground for learning when to trust your gut and when to slow down and really use logic. So, what's the point of all these upgrades? Why build this powerful new brain in the first place? Well, it's to pull off the two great developmental jobs of this stage of life: figuring out who you are and learning how to take charge of your own life.
This is the quintessential question of being a teenager, isn't it? This neurological push to connect thinking and feeling makes these big questions about values and meaning feel incredibly urgent. It's not just navel-gazing, it's a critical process of forming an identity that really sets the stage for a purposeful adult life.
And that brings us to this idea that identity isn't just something you find, it's something you actually build. This framework here shows 4 different ways that can go. The ideal path is achieved, where you've really explored your options and then you've made a commitment. A lot of teens are in moratorium, which just means they're actively exploring, but they haven't landed on anything yet. The less ideal paths are foreclosed, where you commit without exploring, maybe taking on what others expect of you, or diffused, where you haven't really done either. The big takeaway here is that the healthiest path always involves active exploration.
And going hand in hand with identity is agency. This is the other huge job. Agency is just the capacity to make things happen in your life. And the most important part is that it's a learned ability. It's a skill set, not some personality trait you're born with. And it takes a lot of practice to develop.
So this brings us to what is probably the most important point of this entire explainer. We've seen the blueprint, we've seen the construction crew, but who's the architect? What is it that decides how this whole brain-building project ultimately turns out?
This is absolutely key. All of these incredible brain changes we've talked about, the pruning, the myelination, the new cognitive tools, they don't guarantee a successful outcome. They just open a door. They create the potential for a sophisticated, self-regulated adult mind. But, potential has to be realized.
So what realizes that potential? Experience. The things a teenager does, the challenges they face, the support they get, the environment they're in. These are the hands-on forces that physically sculpt the final structure of their brain.
So how does this sculpting actually work? It's this really elegant, powerful feedback loop. An adolescent interacts with the world around them. Their brain figures out which neural connections were useful for that interaction. Those useful pathways get stronger. They get myelinated. And the pathways that weren't used, well, they get pruned away.
So the ultimate takeaway is this. The experiences provided by family, school, community, and our culture, they aren't just influencing a teen's behavior. They are literally the primary architects of the teenage brain. A challenging, supportive, and rich environment helps build a powerful, resilient, and really capable brain.
And this leads us to our final and pretty provocative question. If adolescence is this critical window for brain construction, and it's all guided by experience, are our modern environments actually providing the right building materials? Are our schools, which often minimize self-direction, and our very age-segregated lives, which can limit access to adult role models, are they helping or are they hindering this crucial work? In short, are we making the most of this incredible opportunity, or are we maybe letting it pass us by?